The news of the past years have been, especially the political news, has been distressing to me and to many people who are far more in the know than me. But I would like to give a reasonably, an objectively, not optimistic, but uh, a, a view from the opposite direction of the things that are going on, because there's a lot of what is going on that actually is working exactly the way it's supposed to be working in a representative democracy. Um, there has never been a lack of the lunatic fringe in our country. Uh, they uh, they have cast a big shadow in Washington in the past years because of their enabling by Donald Trump and Putin and the hangers-on of the Republican congressmen that have been supporting their fascist agenda to overthrow the country to keep Donald Trump in power, and all those things are just as terrible as they can be. But I want to keep a few things in mind, and that is, keep in mind that Donald Trump was voted out of office. For that to happen to an incumbent president is uh, is at least remarkable. Um, Certainly not unheard of, but it's at least remarkable that, because usually incumbent presidents serve 2 terms. Very often they serve, usually more often than not, if they have the political viability to serve 2 terms. Many do not because of sickness or assassination or any other different things. But if they are ready to serve, if they are ready to continue and think straight and have the physical ability, then 2 terms is the norm, is far more usual than not. And Donald Trump was voted out of office as an incumbent president. That shows where the country is. Secondly, the he was impeached twice. And of course, Republicans say that was all just political. No, it wasn't. Nobody had a plan to impeach Trump until, one, he abused his power to try and use Ukraine to go after his political opponent, and two, when he attempted to obstruct justice. Uh, uh, Insofar as the looking in to what he had done. There is, uh, uh, we sometimes get frustrated. I get frustrated. Certainly, there's a very old saying from long ago uh, that the wheels of the gods grind slowly, but depending on what version you use, but they grind exceeding fine. The or the wheels of the gods grind late. It depends on whether you're using a Greek or English user of the phrase. We, when awful things happen in recompense to evil individuals, we often think, boy, it'd be great if there's a bolt of lightning, particularly for people who are terribly depraved. But what God uses this side of heaven to bring down evildoers is usually civil authority. That is to say, criminal law. And the best way to bring Trump to justice is for him in the end to have to do the perp walk. But to have that happen takes time. No prosecutor in the world is going to want to indict someone and then have the grand jury reject it, or have a team of expensive defense attorneys not have it not be able to go anywhere. But that means it requires patience from the public. We can wait for the wheels of justice to grind. Now they've started already. The people from the rioters from the January 6th attempt to falsify the election, they are going to jail one by one by one. And the Justice Department doesn't have to be in any hurry to indict these people as they find them. How many people are they charging? Hundreds? Well, you've got 5 years from the time of the crime. And in 5 years, they can do it in 4 years and 10 months. They can bring an indictment. No problem if they have the proof. And these people aren't running off anywhere. They live in their homes. Everybody knows where they are. Everybody knows who they are. They were putting themselves up online. And the people who weren't actively recording their misdeeds were on other people's feeds and were seen in the background or in the foreground cheering the insurrection on and trespassing on federal property. I once knew a man who had been a part of a protest about something the federal government was doing, and he stepped over the line and he said, "I'm not moving." 2 years in a federal prison. I want everyone to remember, every time you hear how long these people's sentence is, you don't think to yourself, "Oh yeah, I just got 5 years. He'll be out in 2 years and 2 months, parole." Please remember, federal crime has no parole. When you are sentenced to 63 months or something like that, or 24 months or 28 months, whatever it may be, you serve every bit of that time. There might be not months taken off, maybe a week or 2 taken off for extremely good behavior, but you can lose that very quickly. The amount of time you will spend is the amount of the sentence. There is no parole, but there is probation, very often 3 years. After all, you have to report all your income, where you're getting your money, what your activities are, and if you screw up during probation, life gets bad. And on a federal crime, almost always, yes, it depends on the crime, but a lot of these individuals will never be allowed to possess, forget own, even being in the presence of a firearm. 5 more years locked up. So justice is coming, and we can have good hope that it will overtake Trump. Even as, I hang around with some of the lunatic fringe, being a semi-tractor trailer driver, and I have to sit in the waiting room. Waited in one this week, 2.5 hours, waiting for my load to be ready. And so I hear some of them crazy stuff. They aren't talking about Trump anymore. They aren't trying to defend Trump anymore. Trump is in a large sense, Trump is gone. Shoot, there's a lot of people that think that Biden can't run for a second term because he's too old. Trump's the same age, roundabout. And 4 years from now, 3 years from now, 3.5, whatever, he'll be older than that by the time he would get back into the presidency. Will he be alive? Will he be out of prison? Well, nobody's hanging their hat on Trump at this point. Even Fox and Rupert Murdoch are not really supporting Trump at this point anymore. They've gone on to other lunatic fringe topics. Maybe the Kennedys will rise from the dead. Who knows? Maybe if you drink urine, you'll be safe from COVID. The So we have good hope in all of these things. As in a large sense, when you take a bird's eye view, 10 years from now, someone could look back on this and say, look how well our system of government worked. The persons and people who did evil were brought to justice. But of course, we don't get to see things from 10 years from now. We only get to see them where they are now. But in my opinion, thus far, largely, our system of government has been working very, very well. And people who do crimes are being held to account. Now, Trump's slippery. He surely is. He does not write anything down, and he does not read anything. So when he goes into a deposition, he can say, no, I never read that. No, I have no idea what that is. No, that's a contract I signed. I didn't read it. And he never writes an email. He does not use emails. So how do you determine, mentis rea, how do you determine the state of his mind insofar as doing a criminal act? However, there are some criminal acts that you are held to account, such as obstruction of justice. We will have to wait and see. But I don't want to give up the ship at this point. The Republican efforts at I think that when and if the Republicans regain the House and Senate in 22, the first thing they will do is get rid of the filibuster. Do you remember the situation with the Supreme Court? Oh, we won't. It's just terrible to think that in the last year of a presidency, and yet. Last year, the president of his presidency, Barack Obama, would appoint a Supreme Court justice. And with Trump, with weeks left of his presidency, they immediately put in his pick. They're screaming, "Oh no, we can't get rid of the filibuster! It's a central issue of our system of government and our ability to work together and gain consensus." And they don't care about consensus. They don't care about anything but power and money. And they will ditch the filibuster, and once the filibuster is gone, they will pass federal voter suppression laws across the country because the purpose is to become a minority rule party and to do away with representative democracy. That's scary stuff. But it's just one magic 8-ball possibility. And on the other hand, we might come out of this, by the grace of God, far better off as a country, with lots and lots of dead people because of Trump and Republicans and trying to avoid any responsibility for COVID. But we will. I have faith in general in the people of the United States. Most of us are, very, very, very few. I've lived up in the hills of the Appalachians and the knobs of Kentucky. There are tons and tons of uneducated people. Very few stupid people. Very, very few. Lots of evil people. Hardly any of them are dim bulbs. And they can look after their own interests. And when they see that Republicans are working against their own interests and for a autocracy, I have good hope that we will come out of this in the coming years in good shape.